How's it going? I'm Ryan. Today, I'm going to go over the three trades I took. Two on SPY, one on QQQ. All three trades were losers. Today was not a very great day for me. Kept the losers relatively small, but nonetheless seemed like I was always on the wrong side of the trade. We'll get into those in just a second though. On the daily time frame, we're looking at an inside bar situation today where we had Friday was a big move to the upside. Monday was an inside bar, looking to see if we get a break and continuation from that setup. We did not. We have another inside bar from today's action, so kind of priming for a big move, it seems like. A few of the levels we were watching were yesterday's high day around 494.2, yesterday's low day around 490.25, this level around 491.5. We had pre-market low, pre-market high, and 492.7, we'll call it. And we'll look at the two trades I took on SPY first, and then the final trade that I took on QQQ. So coming into the day, it's kind of the way things looked. We had yesterday's high day, pre-market low, and then this level here that I was watching at 492.7. Stayed in this pre-market range essentially all day after we rejected off of yesterday's high day. But the first trade that I took came within the first like 20 minutes of the day or so. We'll take a look at that. Throwing on the 9 EMA here. So the first trade that I took today were calls on this candle here. And this candle is very bearish, but this is the reason why. So from the open, we broke and held above that pre-market high. We formed a hammer candle, held that pre-market high, hold that EMA, rallied up to test yesterday's high day. We pulled back, held the EMA again, had another pullback. We came down and tested that low a day. So we came down, tested that low a day, closed above the pre-market high as well, above that 9 EMA as well. So to this point, looking pretty strong, looking like we were having some active buyers at that pre-market high that were keeping us above that level. We had, had multiple candles wick down into that area and failed to close lower. So I was looking for calls here after we closed here on that 5-minute pretty bullish with high volume. On the retest of the pre-market high, I got a call, and I got stopped out when we broke this wick here. So when we broke the current low, so that was pretty much the low a day. When we broke that, that stopped me out. What was I looking? I was targeting high a day, or yesterday's high a day. I was targeting a move to the upside. I was looking for this move to continue. I was watching QQQ and SPY. QQQ was looking much weaker in the morning. SPY was holding up a lot stronger. So I thought that we had some strength and took calls there. So I guess we can look at some things. Maybe too early in the day to determine, maybe we had that EMA starting to roll over a bit. Not too mad at this trade. I felt pretty good taking this setup, watching us hold that level, and look pretty strong in the morning. So not too mad about that, but that was my first trade. We can take a look at the, take a look at the 2-minute and see what it looks like on there as well. So on the 2-minute, this is what we were looking at, right? Each time we kind of got down into this range, we had a big hammer candle off pretty much the open, pulled back, rallied up to a new high a day, came down, had that hammer, came down, reclaimed that level again, and this is where I entered calls on this. After we got that 5-minute close, held that level, entered calls here, and on this candle when we broke between that, below that low here, that stopped me out. That was one contract. I took 494 calls, so I was looking for those to be out of the money, going into the money, and that was my first trade of the day. Second trade of the day came off of a trend line I was watching on the hourly chart. So previous 2 days highs, we had resistance, and the pre-market kind of broke out, and we came down and retested that later in the day. So at that point, we had sold off, came down, retested that level. This is where I entered my second trade of the day. So I entered calls on this candle here. Reason being, had this level at 492.7, also had that resistance from the hourly from the previous 2 days highs that we broke out of. We had come down and retested it. We had really high volume on this 5-minute candle, higher than all the previous besides the very first opening candle. So high volume, came down, held this level, and held that that resistance that it was breaking out of. So on this candle here, as we were coming down to retest, took 2 calls. At this point, I took 2 contracts. I had taken 1 contract up here, had a smaller loss, and I was looking for a bounce here, taking 2 contracts. I wanted to see us return back to that pre-market high. Would have been a pretty nice move. Risk was below the low of day again. So looking for about a, what would that be? Like a 90-cent move, just about $1 move, risking about 30 cents or so. So decent risk to reward there. On this push down below low a day, stopped me out as well. So second loss of the day. This one could be judged a little more harshly. We were below that EMA. We obviously were weak on the day. This was coming down and retesting a broken resistance turn to support. And you can see that we kind of bounced around this area before moving up. So I think the idea was kind of there. Maybe the execution was a little sloppy. The precision may have not been there on, say, like the 5-minute chart when I was looking at a trend line from the hourly. So a few things there. Overall, probably should have traded more with the trend in this case and been aware of the overall weakness that we had so far. But with that high volume, holding that level, holding that resistance, I felt comfortable taking calls here, thinking that we might get a reversal from that point. Those were 2 trades I took on SPY. You can tell the rest of the day on SPY kind of just bounced around, like I said, between pre-market high, pre-market low. It was trading pretty well in a range, so I suppose if you were privy to that and taking calls down here, you would have made money every single time, or taking puts up here, I assume. 1, 2, 3 rejections, all pretty nice moves, about 60, 70 cents or so. Other than that, the last trade that I took was on QQQ. So I was mentioning how in the morning SPY was holding up a lot stronger than QQQ. So when SPY was breaking above and holding pre-market high, QQ had tested pre-market high and rejected and was creating fresh lows. So thought we had some relative strength in SPY versus QQQ, not so much. They both kind of fell today. The third and final trade that I took on QQQ was puts on this candle right here. That was a sloppy circle I just drew there, but puts on this candle here. Reason being, we had come down, kind of formed a low down here. The most recent swing high was this point right here, right around 427.5. We had come down, formed our low a day at this point, came up, tested that EMA, rejected, formed a new low, came up, rejected off that same point, failed to create a higher high. And so after this 5-minute close here, once again, rejecting off that 427.5 area that we had rejected just previously, closing below the EMA. When we came up and retested when we were in this area, I grabbed a single put for 426. I was looking for this trend to continue, so I was watching. We had this big move down, right? We have this little swing high up. It's not going to let me draw, but you get the idea. Make a new low, try to make a new high, and fail. And so I was expecting a new low again. So targeting kind of low of day 426 area in this range. How did I lose on this trade? Well, we did push down. We got down to here, right? We got down to 426.47. That was a pretty decent move. I was actually up around 30% at this point. With only one contract, it could be argued that maybe I should have taken profit when we were down in this area that we had bounced from, previously, and we'd seen some volume come in on those candles and reverse course. So could be said that I should have looked to take profit as we entered this area, but I felt confident that we were pretty weak and that we would at least see the previous day's low, or not previous day low, but the previous low of day. Held on to this. My stop was a break above this 427.5 area that we rejected off of, and this candle right here stopped me out. So held throughout this whole thing. In the end, I think the reason why this stopped me out, well, there's a change, a new swing high, or essentially, pushing up to break that rejection point. As you see, we almost did here, failed to close above it. So maybe that would have been a better measure, is looking at a close above that level, because we did get up to this point and failed to close above it before we got this big rejection here. So I was looking for more of this response that we got, from 9:30 to 9:45. I was hoping we would get this rejection and continuation to a fresh low here. We didn't. It just kind of chopped around, and in that chop, I got stopped out. So that was a tough one. I didn't feel like I took a bad trade necessarily. It just felt like maybe the volume wasn't there, and we were getting a little chopped. So the move didn't really carry through until much later. Regardless, I stuck to my plan. I didn't take profit until we hit the target. Didn't stop out until we actually hit my stop. So tried to play that to plan there, and it just didn't quite work out. So, I could have looked at this here. Look at a breakout of that as a trade. I'm not really a breakout trader, but that was a pretty nice move after that consolidation. Those are the trades I took. All three losers. I didn't hold on to losers very long. I stuck to my stop losses, and it just didn't work out. It was kind of a tough trading day. I think there's some things to be said about maybe some of the quality of the trades I took today, but just going to continue to try to refine things, look at where I went wrong, see if there's some obvious things I missed, and try to address those and move forward. That's all I have for you. Thank you for watching. I do trade live Monday through Friday, so I'll be here all week trading live. Stop by if you feel so inclined. Hope you have a great rest of your day. Thanks. Peace.